Hey guys, I'm Jean and this is a quick tutorial on electricity going from basic to advanced. Now, with electricity in this game, it all depends on your imagination. The more creative you are, the more you can utilize electricity in this game. Now let's just start from the beginning. To get electricity, you go to the science tab over here, and then to use the traps in electricity, go for the electric basics, max that out, and then it all depends on what traps you want to use in the game. For example, if you look over here in melee traps, if you have the full 2 out of 2, you can use blade traps, or the first one, electric fence posts. So I actually recommend, if you're going to use all the traps in the game or make a big base like I do, just get all of these under the science tab and then you're set. Now also, to connect power items in the game, you need a wire tool. So if you come across that or can craft it, then do so, because you are going to need this later on. Okay, so now we start. There are 3 parent connections in this game. There's the battery bank, the solar bank, and the generator bank. Now, just one thing to note, guys, you cannot go from a battery bank to a solar bank. You cannot go from a generator bank to a solar bank, or a solar bank to a battery to a generator bank. However, you can go from a generator to a battery bank. Now, I'll explain this in a moment. Over here you guys can see that for a battery bank you obviously need batteries, and it doesn't use any gas or anything. You just turn it on and it uses whatever it can do. With 2 batteries over here, the max output is 86, or you take one down, max output is 43. Now everything in the game does have an output. I just want to go to here. As you can see in the grayed out thing, it's 0 watts at the moment, 0 watt, but as soon as you turn it on, there's 20 watts over here. Okay, I'll tell you why these are 0 in a moment. 20 watts for this, it's 5 watts for this. It all depends on the trap and the relays. For example, electric relays take 1 watts each. So with that you can work out how much strain a battery bank is taking. So the best thing to do is always have 600 qualities and have all 6 slots filled. Now the only thing with battery banks is, sure, it's quiet, but the quality on your batteries run out. And also that's the same with the solar banks over here. They do run out of quality, but I think the sun charges these. I haven't tried the solar bank really. You do have the generator bank over here, but the only problem is, as you guys can hear, it's very loud. It's very loud, so I actually prefer using this one. Just like, for example, you can make a tower, and at this height you don't hear the generator banks. So with this one, the quality on the engines don't go down, and the max output can be very high. I mean, as you can see, it's 100 watts per engine over here. And then also, the only thing it uses actually is gas. Now, there are a few connections in the game. As you can see over here, there's a simple connection from the generator, or for the power supply, any power supply, to a trap. And then you just turn it on. That's the simple, basic connections. You can do it with lights, you can do it with electric fence posts, relays, directly from the generator bank or power supply to a trap, and it turns on. Same with the light over here. But there is a way to save gas, because at this rate your gas is going to run out, especially if it's a multiplayer server and other people are on while you're offline. Time runs in game, so your generator bank depletes. Now, to save gas, what you can do is connect a trap interval like this, a trigger plate, a switch, tripwire, or a motion sensor. Just do know that these do create a bit of lag, especially if you have a big base like I do. As you can see over there, there's a ton of traps. I'll show you that later on. But yeah, this saves you power. As you can see, it's 0 watt, 0 watt, and 0 watt. So having, oh no, this one is 5 watt. That's why it uses a little bit of power. But as you can see, at the moment, even though is this on? Just turn this on quickly. Okay, so this uses 5 watts, so it does use a little bit of electricity. However, what I prefer using is the trigger plate over here, but that causes frame drop, and then the switch over here. Now, I prefer the switch because I've used this in all my builds. But the only thing is, especially if you have a ton of traps connected to your switch. For example, I over here have a generator bank going to a switch, and then it goes to all my turrets on the wall. Now, as soon as I switch this off or on, the frame drops. It does do a little bit of frame drop, but then it adjusts itself after a while. Now, just want to do this. With the motion sensor, there's options. You can either have power delay, like for example it can pick you up instantly, or you can set it to 5 seconds delay. and then there's a power duration. How long do you want the traps to work? For example, if it's 1 minute, if you connect this to the blade trap over there, as soon as this picks you up, let's just set this to self. So the delay is 5 seconds, you set this to self, and duration we go for 1 minute. So now this picks me up, 5 seconds in, this should start up. Yeah, there you go. And then if you go out of the motion sensors view now, that's going to stay on for a minute. Now there's a way to cancel the connection, guys. If you right click and right click, it makes the connection. But if you left click on the thing receiving the stream, as you can see the yellow lines are going this way. So if you left click on this, it erases this connection. Now like I said, I prefer using one of these behind me. I'll show you why now. Okay, let's just do this one as well. Connect it over here, connect this over here. And as you can see, this, like the relays, use 1 watt, so it's better to use the switch or the trigger plate. Now for the trigger plate, you connect this to the blade trap over there, and as you can see with all of these, the blade trap still has 20 watts, but it's not using any power because it's grayed out. As soon as you step on it though, it lights up to yellow, so it means it's using power. Now as soon as I step off, obviously that's going to stop, but you can also, with this one, you can set the delay, or it's preferably use the instant one, and then how long you want that trap to stay on. Remember, the longer the trap stays on, the more power it uses. Now, like I said, the one I prefer to use is the switch over here. So it's connected to the switch, it's connected to the blade trap over here, and then right before a horde, or whenever you need something, you just flick that switch and it turns it on. Now this works with all traps, guys, not just the blade traps. The blade trap's just the easiest one to show you. The turrets, for example, work exactly like the motion sensors because they also have motion sensors in them. You can have more than one trap to a generator, like I showed you earlier, like so. And same with this. That's off, that's why it's on at the moment. Or you can have more than one connected back here. Let's just do this one quickly as well to show you. The tripwires work a little bit differently though, because as soon as this goes by, it starts and it's going to stop again. So what I prefer doing is placing barbed wire over here, especially in the corners. I'll show you later. I have a detection system going. So I have barbed wire over here so that the zombies move slowly through it so I can pick up properly. Okay, now there's a limit to how far you can stretch in the game, or with your wires in between. That's why there are relays in game. Now the usual distance or limit between them is 10. So if you look over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Whoa. Oh, that's a different kind of relay, sorry. Over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now this isn't the furthest a line can stretch, guys. This is just, let's delete this connection over here. As you can see, if you right click over here and you walk far away, it's still grey, still grey. As soon as it, apologize for background noise, as soon as it turns red, that means you can't place the connection. But as long as this connection is grey, come on, now it's not turning grey. Now it's bugged. Let me just do that over quickly. As long as it stays grey, so right before this, still grey, you can place the connection. Now, also another thing to note, even though you're not next to this relay over here, you can still connect them as long as it's in the 10 blocks or 10 blocks or below. You can place it from all the way over here. You don't need to stand directly next to the trap. However, guys, like I said, there is you can go further than the limit. If you, for example, stand here just before it turns red, you can stretch outside that limit. That's why this one's going 11, 12 blocks extra. I think it can go up to 13. Now there's another way to go even further than that. If you go sideways or backwards is actually shorter, but if you go sideways it can stretch 10 to 13. But if you go from the top, from a point pointing to where it goes, this can actually stretch 15 blocks. Especially if the receiving end also rotates like this, but in the receiving position. Now if you go backwards, you go behind it, the connection actually shortens. Okay, so you also have like I said, there's a flow in the game. Each item can send out more than one connection, but can only accept one. For example, this one over here is receiving from the generator, so it cannot receive another stream from something else because it deletes the generator's wire. However, if you go from here to the switch, or to the switch, you can go from the switch to the plate, and from the switch to the blade. So as you can see, the incoming connection is only one, but the outgoing can be more than one. And then also there's something else I want to show you here. So the nice thing about that is, for example, let's just use this one. If you connect electric fencing like this, let's start with this one over here. What I used to do, and always bothered me, was connect them in a line like this. But remember, they can only go out, they can't receive more than one. So if you go in a massive square, you can't connect the last one to this because it's going to break the connection. But what you can do, also just to show you guys this, it does work, and it does a lot of damage to your health. Come on. Okay, or you can do this, you can connect this one to a central one, and then from here you can go outwards. Now I did this with the same with my relays on the wall, I'll show you that in a moment. But as you can see, it can go in two directions, but it can only accept the one incoming wire. And still, this is going to shock me, so I'm not going to touch that now. Okay, so what I mean by the multiple direction thing is, over here, for example, I went from the switch to the relay of a... Oh no, these are the different ones. I had a generator over here, and I used them for the tutorial. So this generator goes to the switch, that switch goes to the relay over here, and then that relay keeps going all the way to this one, keeps going to that one on the wall, and then it splits off in both directions, and then underneath it goes up towards each of the spotlights. So as you guys can see, the more creative you can think, the more you can actually add to each other. Just want to show you guys the detection system I was talking about earlier. So for example, all of these traps at the moment are on because the switch is on. As soon as I turn that off, these all turn off. As you can see, this base, I have a ton of traps. I actually have a base tour video. I'll link that in the comment section down below for you to see. Now what I did over here, guys, is I went, as you can see over there, that's a tripwire. So I have power going to that, and then I have one over there and one over there, and then the last one's connected to a speaker. But if you just run over that tripwire, it's going to like zoop sound for the speaker. So I put barbed wire underneath, and since the barbed wire slows zombies down, they're on the tripwire for longer, so it actually makes a siren sound, and that just tells you zombies are in the area or not in the area. So yeah, as you guys can see, it's very, very easy to use electricity in this game. You just need to use a little bit of your imagination. Just remember, you need a wire tool, you need those skills. There are relays that you can stretch the connections with. I mean, look at this, the generators are here, but I have all those over there powered just because I'm relaying them all the way to there. Also guys, there are two types of relays in the game. There's this one, the electric timer, and then there's the normal one that I usually use. Now for the electric timer, connect that one for example. Come on, connect to this one, and then this one to the blade trap. It's the same as a switch, this one. You click on it with E, you say when it needs to start, let's say 11:30, so it's going to start now. Come on. Should have actually done this earlier. So it's going to start up in a moment. I think it's because I missed it now. Is this on? No, it's not. Okay. Turn this on and then it turns. So you can actually set your timers. If you use that for over here, it actually works as automated switches. So instead of the switch, you can place a relay over here and then connect it to the normal relays. And then as soon as the time hits on the server that you set this electric timer to, it turns off and on its own. You don't have to run around and use switches. I should actually use that next time because I've never actually tried these electric timers. Only now with the tutorial I actually see how awesome they are. Anyways, if you guys have any questions on electricity or want me to do another video explaining a little bit more about something, please let me know down below. If you guys like this video and you think it was informative, helpful, leave a like and share with your friends. And if you guys are new to this channel, please remember to hit that subscribe button for more of this content. See you guys next time.